Ćao ljudi, ja sam Mateja sa Heavy Talks bloga. Evo večeras imate čast da pogledate prvi intervju na našem YouTube kanalu. Večeras je sa nama Olof Wikstrand iz grupe Enforcer. Hello Olof, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing pretty great.
It's nice to have you for the third time here in Serbia.
We're super stoked to be back here. I think since the first time we played here in Serbia, that's been like something that's been very, very special for us to come here. Just the vibe, the people, we connected really with the audience here, I think.
Yeah. I mean, many foreign musicians are saying that when they come here. I suppose it's like on a different planet, like in South America.
I said to someone earlier today, like Serbia is like the South America of Europe. I mean, it's very passionate. You know, Serbia is passionate about stuff. And in this case, they're passionate about music, and we love that. And because we're like absolute maniacs about our music, so coming here and meet people that are just as crazy about music that we are is like that's really special.
Yeah, it's kind of blessing. So you actually released your last album Nostalgia like 2 years ago. So it's like pretty actual. So you are basically still promoting that material.
More or less.
So in that case, what are like the further plans with that?
I mean, first of all, I don't think, it's fun and all to go like an album promotion tour, but I think at this point in our career, we just go out and promote the band. When we're out, we're not focusing so much and necessarily to sell new albums, because you don't really sell albums anymore, so it doesn't really make sense to work that way. Everything that that we market is the band name, and play our hits and the songs that the people want to hear.
So you are basically currently promoting not the album itself, but the brand.
Kind of, that's how I would like to see it. I rather promote the brand than an album, because I think Enforcer is like a phenomenon more than that we are out and selling records, because there's not so many bands like us, I think.
So when we are talking about the sales, I have to ask this question. So I think that many of your fans already know that you have a deal with the Nuclear Blast.
That has expired now.
So it's expired. So you're looking for a new label.
We just signed with Napalm Records. That's going to put out our next record.
That sounds interesting. So because there are so many myths with the Nuclear Blast, and you are not like some big names, like they had the Slayer, they had the Anthrax, they had like all the legends that we grew up to. So what kind of status you had within the label?
Probably very low. I mean, that's not something that it's outspoken, but they were never prioritizing us in any way. When they advertised bands like on their social media and stuff, they get this Nuclear Blast at them, we were never ever mentioned like in. So it's a bit of a disappointment working with them, but at the same time they did also like good things for us. So. I mean, but we were never prioritized by them. That was painfully obvious.
And that's pretty sad because now in like maybe last 10 or 15 years, I personally think that the Enforcer is one of the best things in heavy music in last decade.
I think the same. No, but quite like objectively, I think so.
That's why I don't understand why didn't they something more with you, because you deserve that.
I don't know. I think that most the labels give their bands like a first shot, and if it doesn't fly, then it's like, it's not the same thing anymore. But we were on. I was really happy when we were on Earache, because they really took care of us, and they really took care of all the like. To every tiny detail, they made sure that we got hooked us up with booking agents and put us on tours and put us on festivals and great slots, and did like a lot of like just working creatively with a band in a way that Nuclear Blast never really did for us. They gave us some advance, and then there was just like, whatever you do, whatever you want.
Yeah, so just like some short advices, and that's it.
I didn't even get much advice from them, not at all.
Yeah, because I remember I saw that maybe, I don't know how many years ago, they like put you on tour with Destruction, and I don't know who else.
That didn't came from them, but it came from our booking agent.
So it's like the booking agent, the one who got you that tour.
That tour, yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's very strange, because you were the label mates back then.
Yeah, but usually like it goes a bit hand in hand. You're on one label and a similar booking agency, and there's not so many booking agencies anywhere in Europe.
Yeah.
It's just like who does extreme music. There's a handful of them, you know. So
yeah, so you don't have that much of a choice.
No, not really.
Yeah, and that's pretty sad. So also,
but the booking agency we are with right now, we have a very good like personal connection, and we work a lot together. But that's a completely different story, like the booking side of things. But honestly, I mean, I think it's almost like a booking agency is more important for a band than the record label is nowadays. You know, the booking agency that puts you out there and puts you on tours and puts you on, you know, makes your concerts and festivals and all that, where the audience can actually see you. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our booking agency that reached out to like local promoters here, you know.
Yeah. It's completely understandable. Yeah, because as you said before, the records are not selling like they used to be, like in the 80s and the 90s. So
it's not central for a band to focus on record sales. I think the most important thing to focus on as a band is to like really build the band as a brand, sell merch online, you know, do stuff like that, and just be visible. Be out there, try to get like good fees, get out there, sell merch, you know. That's kind of, you know.
Is that like affecting you in any way?
Not really. I mean, I got into music industry after like the heyday of CD sales. So our first album came out in 2008, and you know, streaming was already a thing then. We've noticed like a decline of record sales, but I mean, you don't even sell a fraction these days to what you did like 40 years ago, so it's uncomparable. I never relied on any like money from CD sales. I think, you know, some records have sold around 20,000, 25,000 copies maybe, and that's pretty much financing your studio budget, and that's about it.
Yeah, but, so you're like on the zero.
Yeah. That's most. I think most bands work like that. That the advances are like they are in standard with how much they predict you to sell. So usually that goes like plus minus zero from production cost.
Yeah, I understand. So so it basically the CD or vinyl or whatever, it like just became the part of the merch.
Yeah, exactly.
And nothing more than that.
Nothing more than that. No.
Yeah, and we also have like streaming services like Spotify, Deezer, and how are you views on that?
I mean, first of all, I'm just gonna say that, you know, that. It's the CDs are a part of the merch catalog, but the shitty thing with the CD is that I buy a CD from the record label for like 12-13 euros and I can sell it for 20. It's a low profit, while a t-shirt I can make for 450 and sell for 30-35 euros. So it's a much better profit on t-shirts anyway. So it's a pretty bad piece of merch anyway, you know, records, and they are heavy and hard to anyway, my opinions on streaming, I think it's once again, as an artist, I have nothing really to compare to, you know, since I haven't been selling music before streaming was a thing. So for me, it's I like streaming. I listen to music. I collect a lot of music on vinyl, original press and shit like that, but that's because I'm a lunatic. But I also listen to a lot of like stream music, and I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's a great opportunity to, you know, like listen to your favorite music on some other place when you're not home or something like that.
And also you can
That's
reach
cool.
out to a completely different like audience that you could not if you had like a record label that was like focusing on a very specific like market or like so.
Yeah.
Now anyone can find you. And they can find you by accident, and you know it's
and they can like you.
and they can like you, and we can make fans that way. For me, I would like to think about it like I want to use technology to my advantage, and not to like yell about it.
Yeah, I mean that's very interesting point, because like many of the bigger names, they're complaining about how low their profit is from streaming services.
Yeah, if you compare it to record sales, but you know, move on. I mean, the world is changing, and like it's constantly changing, and you just gotta live with and do whatever you can do with what's available at the moment. You know, instead of just like whining on that the world is changing.
Yeah. I mean, that's like old man yells on the clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that was like the business part of the story.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting, and I think it's like a lot of young musicians would do good from like learning a bit of this.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish that I knew everything about like the business side of music that I know now in the beginning of my career, or that I would have someone who would like navigate me through all this when I was, you know, doing this in the first place. Yeah,
I understand. So actually, I want to talk with you about some like artistic things right now.
Yeah.
So your last album, it's called Nostalgia.
Yeah.
And the title track is like the name of the album.
Yeah.
And it's a ballad, which is pretty like atypical to be the title track for a heavy metal band.
Yeah.
So what it is all about? What's the song about? Is there like any background story or something like that?
I mean, it's just like a reflection of the passage of time, more or less, and you know that I'm almost 40 years old now. I've been doing this band for 20 years, and sooner or later you realize that, you know, things are not going to be forever. You know, you grow up, and when you're like in your teenager, you're so full with like anticipation of life and everything what it's going to be. But then once you hit a certain age, you go like, oh, so there literally isn't more like that than this, you know, and you start to look back, and you know, and you kind of realize how pointless life is if you think about it in a bigger perspective.
Yeah. And also on the previous album, Zenith, you had like Regrets, which is, I personally think it's a beautiful ballad. It's one of my favorites from that album. So unfortunately, it seems that many heavy metal fans doesn't like the ballads.
No, but then they can listen to other tracks.
That's pretty good point. So also there is like very artistic work in the videos, in the promotional videos for both songs.
Yeah. No, but I think they came out great.
Yeah, I also, and it's also typical, but on the other side, it like suits the band.
Yeah. No, but I think I see myself so much more than like a musician than like a genre. Let's say.
You're not limited by the genre.
No, I would not like to see Enforcer as a genre band. I want to see it like as a music band, and I compose music, and I express myself through heavy metal. You know. Yeah. But for me, like the inspiration are endless, and I can get inspired by just anything. You know, I listen to a lot of different types of music, and I really don't want to limit myself to just write genre, because if I focus on writing genre, the music would become like the most average, like bullshit, whatever music, you know?
Yeah, because
it's everything.
It's recycled, like it's recycled,
and everything that is like exactly, and I think that everything that sticks out from something that is standard, or like that's the points where the listener goes like, fuck yeah, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's how Metallica became big.
Yeah, I think so. It's like, yeah, that's a great example on how they like use the contrast in like super heavy riffs, and then they which like kind of release into like a melodic chorus that they did a lot in the beginning.
Yeah,
in the first 3 albums.
Yeah, and also like they have been told that they have sold out back then, even when they released Ride the Lightning with the Fade to Black on it.
Fucking bullshit, you know. I mean, sold out. You know, they were doing perfectly fine. Yeah. I mean, they were taking risks, you know, not selling out.
Yeah. And also like
and it paid off. Yeah.
Yeah, and also one band that also kind of exits all those so-called standards is Iron Maiden.
Yeah,
they are pretty atypical to the heavy metal, but they still sound like a heavy metal, and they have like
what I admire with their is that they reinvent themselves for every album, and I admire that in one way. I wouldn't want to do it myself, but they like have a new sound on. They sound like a different band on every album, and that's really interesting for a listener to listen to, because you can like get so immersed in an album, and then you go to the next album and it's like a completely different journey. And as a listener, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's cool, because not many people nowadays likes that, because there are many people who, as you said before, you mentioned like the genre, which is like one cage, and people don't like anything which is outside of that, outside of that boundaries.
Yeah, but that's just a marketing thing, I think. You know, like, 'cause, you know, I totally.
And also, it's interesting that you are the producer of your own records.
Yeah.
Do you have your own studio, or?
I do, yeah. Or not really a studio, but I have like gear, so that I can. Yeah. So I have one like pretty advanced studio in my parents' basement, and then I have in my apartment I have like a listening corner or like a mix corner. Mm-hmm. So if I like record music, I would rent a studio for like the loud instruments like drums or whatever, and the rest I do.
But you're recording light guitars in your basement, as you said.
Yeah, it's been a little bit different for every album what it's been looking like, but I've been recording guitars in my basement.
Yeah, that sounds cool, because it sounds like pretty analog. It really sounds like that those records are from the 80s, but they're not. But they really you really captured that sound.
Yeah, but I mean that's because that's the sound I like. I mean, today is like the analog digital discussion is just like that's an old one. We don't have to take that. Digital is so much better in every single way. You can do so much more with like digital music, but it's also that ruins music, that you can do so much with it, because that leads to like boring productions. Everything is sterile, too clean. There's like no interpretation, no character left in the music. So it's a bit of an approach thing that you can absolutely quantize drums, you can auto-tune vocals. It will be tighter, but will it be better?
No.
Depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
But, I prefer not to. I prefer to like I can use some of that like move stuff like back and forth, and edit stuff like pretty hard at times, but you always have to do it with in mind to preserve the character, because after all it's the character that you listen to in a production. It's like personality, character, that's something that's what's gonna speak to you,
Yeah.
and not the perfect vocal take. That's that's not important.
Yeah, I understand. So because you have that your kind of studio.
So to answer your question, I think that the mindset is more important than analog digital discussion, because that's just like
Yeah, everything is about the approach, as you said.
Yeah.
And do you maybe do you do just the recording and production for the Enforcer, or
I
you're
do
doing
for other bands also.
For other bands also. So
yeah, it's been quite a. It's like I thought it was just something that I did like once in a while, but I counted that I've done like 45 full-length albums the past 10 years, and that's quite a bit.
Yeah, that's quite a number. So
yeah.
Which one of them you will choose to present yourself like a producer?
As a producer?
Yes.
Probably one of like I mean, usually you think it's the most recent stuff that you've done that you like the most, because I learn so much every day, you know, from when it comes to music productions. But probably either like our latest album, Nostalgia, I think, where I worked with a band called Helveted Sport last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago now. That came out really great, I think. Yeah.
So those are like the two records which are you at the moment most proud of?
As a producer, yes. Yeah.
That is like yeah, I mean, like today is the time like when the musicians they just don't have to be like the musicians, just go and play, go and write a song or whatever. You have to produce your music by yourself, basically. You don't have like big producers like you had in the 80s, 70s. And
here's an interesting point. I mean, first of all, keep that question in mind, what you had in the 80s. But like, first of all, yes, you kind of, because you don't make money from music these days the same way you did, because you don't sell records, which means that you don't get like as much studio time as you used to, which means that because you can't afford like to have somebody record you like for days or for weeks, because there's just not like that type of money. So in order to have to like get to a point where you can spend as much time on a recording that you would need to match those old recordings, because they spent fucking years in the studio back then, you know, the AC/DC, Metallica, those bands. Anyway, so you have to learn it yourself and do it yourself, sit with it at home and work with it to be able to work with it so throughout to match what they did back then.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty easy to match some things like before, because you have so much technology, so much of
and also we should not forget like back in the 80s, you know, if you look at like Metallica or Def Leppard or whatever, you know, they were basically demo bands. They got record deals, and you know, maybe not on their first records, but on their second albums, they already got to work with the biggest music producers in the world, like Mutt Lange for Def Leppard, you know,
Bob Rock for Metallica.
Or Flemming Rasmussen for Metallica, or whatever, you know, they were just like, it's not so strange that teenagers could make great albums when they had the like top producers producing their music, but today there's nothing like that.
Yeah, that's why the music is suffering, I think.
I think so, yes, maybe, or at least metal music, because there's no such money in music anymore, which doesn't allow young bands to work with professional people. It's literally impossible for a local young band that has a great demo to hook up with a great music producer that would like take this and take it really to a professional level.
Yeah.
If you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
So tonight is a gig, and what are your expectations?
I have no idea. I mean, we had a good show, we had a good time last time, and I just love being here, like in Southeast Europe or in like Serbia, in general. You know, play a show, hang out with all the friends that we made here, you know, and you know, just have a blast.
Yeah, that's like the point of everything that we're all doing.
Man.
Me as a journalist right now, you as a musician, and everything is just to have fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, are there any further plans for the band after this short tour?
Yeah, we do quite some stuff in North America this year. We play Hell's Heroes, a festival in Texas, in 2 weeks. and we do a American West Coast tour in the beginning of April. We do a full US tour in September again. So we have a lot of stuff coming up in the States. And I think in between that we have like something like 10, 12 festivals in the summer.
What about the new music?
That has been suffering a little bit because first of all, we've been touring so much. So so I have not been able to focus on writing music. And also both my brother, the drummer of the band, and we had children like a little bit more than a year ago, only 3 weeks apart. So that's really been taking most of my spare time, honestly. But I'm planning to try to like structure up my time. I have like demos of 7-8 songs maybe that I've done. So sooner or later, as soon as we can like structure things up a little bit, we're probably gonna like record a new album at some point.
Yeah, so that will be like in maybe 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, I would like it to happen soon, but it's really hard to make time.
Yeah.
And last album was like a result of the pandemic. It was mostly Jonas and I who was writing and composing the music. This time I think I want to integrate the entire band and do an album like fully as a band. Maybe even record live, you know, and just preserve all the energy that we have right now, because I think that we sound so fucking great. Like the chemistry, the musical chemistry we have in this band is like, it's nothing that I've experienced ever before. I think we play so great together.
Yeah, and you should like take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
What are your personal favorites from your catalog? I mean, the songs.
I think we have many great songs. But usually, you know, the songs that tends to stick with me are the songs that the audience are picking up, because I value a good song, but to see an entire crowd singing your song is a way better feeling than to just like a song.
Yeah.
So the songs that works best with the audience is the songs that I like, because that's a great experience. You know?
Yeah, because you have like some, so to say, deep cuts in your discography, which is like Mask of Red Death, for example, which is maybe my favorite from that album.
Yeah, I like that song too. We've been talking about starting to play that live again, because this year, since it's like a 20th anniversary for us in 2025, we wanted to take up some deep cuts. We extended our set with like half an hour to play like more older songs that we haven't played in like 10 years.
That would be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Also, when it comes to the album and the track From Beyond, actually not many people know that song is actually like the remake of the song that already exists.
Yeah.
From the band
Terminal. Yeah.
So how it became the Enforcer song?
Well, the main man behind Terminal is our bass player, or our former bass player.
Yeah.
So he wrote that song for his like, what can you call it? His side project, his like, his like fun band. But the thing is that so many songs that he wrote for that band, we discovered were so freaking excellent. So at some point we wanted to play them with Enforcer also. So he rewrote the lyrics in English, and we made just Enforcer versions of the songs, but it's like the same Tobias. It's the same composer. He also did Regrets. That was also like, it's the same thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's also released, but it's like vocals in Slovenian or something.
Yeah.
So it's like in the original version.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And also because you're now here in the Balkans, you played Croatia last night, I think. Yeah.
Bulgaria.
Yeah. And you are going to Croatia tomorrow.
No, Saturday.
Saturday, okay.
Yeah.
So you are like in the Balkan region, in the ex-Yugoslavia region, and you actually covered one of our favorite heavy bands around here, Divlje Jagode.
Yeah.
You covered Let na drugi svijet.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. So Let na drugi svijet.
Yeah.
And also, how did you discover that band, and how did you realize that you want to do a cover of that song?
No, I discovered that because many years ago I was dating a girl from Croatia, and when I was there at her parents' house, she like brought up this vinyl and was like, "Have you ever heard about this?" And I was like, "No, what is that?" This was probably 12 years ago, maybe, and 10 years ago, and then I was like, she put that on, and I was like, what the actual fuck, this is the best I've ever heard. That's my story. Since that, I've been listening to them a lot. I love so much stuff that they've done. And how did I come up with, I think, you know, I want to do, when it comes to covers, I really like to do something original with my covers. I just don't want to record a song that is already great with no room of interpretation. So, but this is in a different language, and I roughly translated the lyrics and made my kind of own version of it, and we recorded it that way.
Yeah, and also, what is the great with that cover is that you actually put your own touch on that, but on the same time you like kind of gave a respect to the original.
Yeah,
and it sounds authentic, so. But not just like a copy.
It's a balance, and that's absolutely the goal, to find the balance between originality and also like and like interpretation, but also like not ruining the song.
Yeah. And do you maybe heard of any other bands from this area?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Which ones do you like?
From the top of my head, what they're even called? Is it a band called? Never mind. I can't come up with names like that. None of the bands are like mean so much to me as Divlje Jagode. They're like, they've been like.
Yeah, but you actually heard some other music from.
Yeah. No, but I've got some playlists and stuff that I listen to about like with Yugoslavian music.
Yeah, that's actually pretty nice, because people here they think like the Balkans and all the countries from ex-Yugoslavia. We think of ourselves that we are like some closed region, and that nobody on the world ever know that we even exist, or maybe I don't know, there are like some American people, or I don't know, people from far Western Europe who think that we are like some wild tribes around here, which is kind of funny to hear, but that's it. You actually discovered some great music from our region.
But I listen to a lot of music from in different languages and from different areas of the world, and
So that's pretty interesting, because not many people are actually doing that and discovering the music that way.
Yeah.
So,
but you know, I pick up a lot also, like through our like on our travels and our tours, and with meeting people and hanging out with people and making friends like all over the world, really, in every country. So
yeah. Okay. So, what can we expect tonight from the show?
Manifestation of what heavy metal is in 2025.
Yeah, okay. So, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah.
Let's rock tonight.
Thank you.
Eto, to je bio jedan onako prijatan razgovor sa Olofom Wikstrandom iz grupe Enforcer, a mi se vidimo nekom sledećim prilikom. Ćao.
Nice.